So, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to this conversation, have been for quite a while. I think web shops are an incredibly interesting area right now. Do you want to start by introducing yourself?
Happy to. So my name's David Stelzer. I am the president at a company called Xsolla. I've been in the games industry for between 20 and 30 years at this point. Long time with an interesting journey, having started as an attorney, working at Sega. I ran the Unreal Engine business at Epic for about 8 years. And I've been at Xsolla for a little over a year now. We're an interesting company. We sit at a different space than what I've been used to in the past. And we're at the cycle of helping games to release and make money, really. So while many people know us as what you would call a payments company, we've really evolved to become what I'll call the monetization company. What we like to do is we like to help game makers and publishers to make money. We want you to make more money, and
I mean,
through
that's
direct to
all
consumer,
anyone wants.
yeah, and through the direct to consumer relationships that are available now, we want to help those people who make money keep more of that money rather than giving it back to the platform.
Amazing. Okay. I mean, I'm loving the sound of this already because I think everyone wants to make more money, so it makes it makes a lot of sense. All right, so like, let's start from the beginning. What is a web store?
Yeah, I mean it's not that complicated when you really think of it. It is a destination storefront at its heart. So it is a destination on the web for your game or your company where you're able to place information about those particular things. But embedded into it is a really powerful store where you can transact commerce, you can transmit things to your users, whether that's information, whether that's digital goods, whether you wanted to put in, instant play through cloud or anything like that, tracking metrics, etc. But it is your portal to directly communicate with your users while at the same time being able to transact. So web stores that we build for our customers, they look just like any destination for the game or for the publishing unit that is being represented. And it's got information about offers that are available for the games that you like to play. Hope that those offers transmit a bit more value than what you'd be able to get into the traditional destinations. And you're then able to sell those things to your consumers. And because you have that direct transaction happening, you're able to keep more of that revenue based on what the stores would normally charge. But more importantly, what you're doing is you're now having this relationship with the customer where you're starting to see what it is that they like, what they don't like. You can have direct lines of communication with them. You can see play habits, you can see spending habits. You get all of that data that's been obfuscated for a while based on the traditional storefront platforms.
I mean, this conversation was going one way, but you've just like sparked my imagination here. It's really cool. Um, so I've got to ask it. Going back to what you were just saying about you're effectively creating a portal for your players. Now, if you're a larger gaming company, sorry, it's just like
Yeah.
sparked a load of thoughts going through my head. If you're a larger gaming company and you've got multiple different titles, you could essentially have one store going across all those titles, or because I'm just thinking you could
Yeah, you
potentially.
could, and we have partners. I'm not going to go through the names of the partners that we use, but we work with both very small to very large game companies that have single games in their portfolio to hundreds of games in there. And it's really a matter of preference how the game company wants to engage with their customer. They could have a portal that would look like a lobby, so to speak, where you can come in and then you can point your way to the different games you'd want to go to.
Yeah, because
And
but
then
I
and
was
then
thinking you
within
could.
those, you would have your varying web stores. Each game could have its own web store that you're brought to through a series of events. The platforms don't want you to basically link out directly from the game to go to the web store as a means to go and buy things. However, through your traditional marketing channels, as you're a game company and you're marketing your game, or as you're a game company and marketing a series of games through other channels, whether it's digital advertising, um, a leaderboard, other portals, cross network advertising, etc. You can bring people into either of those portions of your destination, right? Like a lobby or a particular page that is specific to that game.
Because I was just thinking, if you have, like you were saying, the lobby, you could essentially use it as a cross promotion tool as well by having, so almost advertising different games when you're sending people to the store. I suppose you may
Yeah,
not
and
want to do
so the
that for
lobby
obvious reasons.
itself, yeah, and if you think about it, the lobby itself is not necessarily your web shop, right? The lobby is your destination for where you want the consumer to first engage with your IP,
Yep.
with your brand, however you want to call it. When we talk about web shops, we're really talking about the embedded ability for commerce, right? So where within that destination you place that embedded ability for commerce is up to you. Could be, you could have something within that lobby page, which would be a buy now button, or something that takes you to a call to action to buy, or it could just point you to your favorite IP within what that company owns. And when you get to that page, you are suddenly now in a commerce-based page. It would look the same to you as the consumer, other than maybe having a place where you could push to be able to buy or leave feedback or to play a game or something like that. But to the consumer, they won't notice. We have something that we call even headless checkout within the Xsolla system, where even when you hit that buy button and it takes you into a commerce page, it's still going to look like you're within the game environment. So
Okay.
the
Yeah.
consumer, it's no different than being anywhere else in the game environment.
It feels like you're
It's
still
pretty cool.
within the. Yeah. Okay. And okay, in terms of the so in terms of the integration process, not talking about the technical integration, but I'm thinking more of the workflow and how it would function. Say I have a game studio and I'm trying to bring my customers to the web store. You said earlier that obviously the stores don't want you to send the customers away from the game. So how do you recommend people work with that?
Yeah, so the stores, as we know, there's been litigation, there's been legislation, this is a hot topic, etc. And this hopefully this will live up online for a while, this talk. And so I don't want to go
I
into
hope
too
so.
much of the details because this is an evolving scenario. But one thing that I think is not changing anytime soon is, as you said, and I think that's very correct, which is the stores do not want you to take somebody who's within a game, have a call to buy something, and that call to buy something takes you out of that environment to a web shop. By the rules, you still very much, if you want them to buy within that game, it will take them to those stores and their facilities to be able to buy. However, as you start to take people to things that are not within the gameplay, it becomes more of a gray area. So, my game session is done. My leaderboard comes up, or a call that says, go check the leaderboard. If I go check the leaderboard, that may take me to a web destination. Now I'm outside the game environment. Okay. And I'm on the
Okay.
web page. Now I potentially have the ability to do commerce that does not have to be within the store environment.
And would
Other
that need to be a different, like potentially be a different currency, or it can still be the same currency that you have?
No, it's still the
within...
same currency. It
Okay.
can all still be the same currency. And then you have our traditional or non-traditional marketing channels, right? So however it is that you are doing your UA, traditional targeting, retargeting, all of those things that are designed to take you to a destination. Normally what we've been doing in game marketing and game advertising is we've been pushing that destination to the store to download, right? We've been pushing for downloads, and when you download, then you do your commerce within there. We can push the offers to you in the game, et cetera, et cetera. The object of a web shop is you have kind of two different marketing channels now, and two channels to be able to push commerce. So you're still doing commerce within the app stores because that's still the biggest avenue and frictionless avenue, I will say, of getting people to go and buy. But also you can take those marketing channels, and rather than pushing them to download, if you already know data that they're a customer, or you believe that they're a customer, or even if you want them to download, but you want to give them something that they're going to delight with, an advantage, like more currency than they'll get at the download, push them to your web page. On the
Right.
web page, you have your store, and the marketing that we push through stores is a little bit different. And it's been a change in psychology, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to convince people, as I pick up my phone here, we still want you to play here, right? But we want you to pay here,
Yeah.
some other
Yeah.
destination like a web page. And even on that pay here portion, if you're a first time user, I can still push you back from there to a download page, or even better, as cloud evolves and cloud sessions evolve, I can push you to a play now button that will allow you to not even leave the web page.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I mean,
and
that's going to
so
be the
what I'm
ultimate, isn't
trying
it?
to do is I'm trying to drive as much of my commerce in a way that is not running afoul of the traditional platforms, trying to push as much of that commerce to a place where I'm not paying 30% for that exchange. I'm paying, a much lesser percentage that is, in our case, it would be the Xsolla fee plus the traditional fees of conversion and transactions and the accounting that happens in the back end, et cetera, which ends up, sounds like a lot, but it still ends up being a small percentage of what you'd be paying in the traditional stores.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's quite an interesting area. It opens up quite a few different avenues that you could approach with it. I was just thinking that you could really do effectively sort of re-engagement using ads, but pointed directly to the store instead of actually going into the, instead of getting somebody to reinstall the app to begin with, you could send them to the store to sort of
Yeah, and if
reinitiate
you think
almost.
about that, like if I really want to be able to, like, IDFA's made that really hard within store, right? And so I don't even have the data on my customer anymore through traditional points at the store. I have to use other means to do that. We'll get into more of that in a bit, but yes, by pushing them over to a web destination, now I can say, not just download my game, but if you sign up, and become a member of this here, I'm going to give you all this extra currency that you wouldn't get just by the store, and then take that sign up and now go. I will send you a link that pushes you over to the store. You do your download. You got your account already set up, right? You open. You're preloaded with currency. You feel good about the experience at that point. Yeah, I did some extra steps, but now I've got all this extra stuff to play with. And it's kind of better if you start over there too, because now I've pre-trained somebody on that behavior of, oh, I'm going to get better offers when I go to my web store than by just playing consistently
Yeah.
in my traditional app.
Yeah. It's nice from the very beginning, really. So in terms of it kind of the whole sort of saying too good to be true. It kind of, like, if I was still working in actually at a game studio, I think this would be something that I would say, right, let's give it a shot. What have we got to lose? Like, are there limitations surround, is there anything that, I mean, obviously the how the stores are surrounding this is probably the most concerning, but how do you address that?
So the things around the store are the most limiting. I won't say that it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just you have to learn the rules to play within the sandbox, right? No pun intended here, but it's you have to learn those rules, and you have to become really good at them to be able to do this other type of work. Number one. Number two, you start to realize that you need extra help too as you get into this environment. So Xsolla, when you sign up with us and you want to do your web shop, we will build that web shop for you. We will maintain that web shop for you, but we don't do your marketing for you. We don't do the UA. We don't do the analytics that come along with that. You still need all of those things. And so what we have to kind of train the user acquisition managers and the monetization managers about is it's a different workflow and a different sense of doing marketing and monetization than what you're pushing at the game for an install, what you're pushing at the platforms.
Yeah.
You're having to figure out value points. You're having to A/B test for what is being bought and what is being ignored, etc. And you're going to need to figure out where those data points are. This is why we've partnered with AppsFlyer, and we think it's one of the most partnerships we have, is to be able to have those analytics and optimization about what's working within those processes and what's not working within those processes. Otherwise, you're kind of flying blind in that environment, and nobody wants to be doing that, because otherwise you're just kind of throwing money at things and hoping
I mean,
that what you
absolutely.
see is the results that you're getting.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the biggest things with this, from what I can see, is if you don't pass the information back, you're kind of you're not getting a true ROAS, or return on ad spend, for the users that you're bringing in through the user acquisition. So it becomes very important
Yes.
to
And what
get
we
the
all
true...
know about this business is it's become increasingly difficult over the last few years to make money. It's become even more difficult to make margin.
Yeah, yeah.
And so every dollar spent, I think, really needs to be scrutinized on that ROAS, right? Like, am I getting every penny out of every dollar that's being spent? Am I spending it the most efficient way that I could? And how do I know I am or not? And that's the accountability that I think the people spending the money need to be able to have, and that's why the partnership that we have with AppsFlyer becomes that much more important. I mean, in particular, what we're seeing is, it allows you to track user acquisition. You can identify which advertising channels are actually the most valuable to the customers. It's going to look at the customer journey so that they can understand behavior. This is this goes beyond the purchases. Where are they dropping off? What influences conversions? How do they refine the funnel? Improving retargeting efforts. I mean, retargeting to me is one of the most important things that people miss out on. Abandoned shopping carts. Why are people not finishing transactions? How do you make sure that if they didn't like something, that you push something else that way, and you take that data over time to be able to target them in just the right way? And then
How
other
does
really
that
important things, right?
how
Like
does that work
combating.
through Xsolla? I mean, like, I know I kind of put that into place when I was at the studio before. But doing that through Xsolla, I mean, we did that all with events, basically. An event was generated when you opened the store, when you put something into the basket, when you went to pay for it, and then didn't finish the payment. Do you cover all of that as well?
So we are getting closer and closer to all that. We cover a lot of it up to that. We are working on our own retargeting application, working properly to figure out how to deal with abandoned shopping carts and things of that nature.
Mm.
From an internal perspective, we have so much stuff coming in the next 6 months within the Xsolla ecosystem that's going to help change that. And then, in addition, through our partnership, anything that AppsFlyer continues to develop along the lines of these, we will continue to integrate. I keep harping on that, but I think it's important to state. Can't state it enough. The integration that we've developed between the two companies at this point, it is a server-to-server integration that requires zero code. I am not a technical person. I had my technical people walk me through this process of integrating AppsFlyer
Actually
into.
turning it on?
Yeah, it literally it took 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and because it was so simple, because it was so quick, I was like, oh, okay, well, why is this important? I guess somebody could hard code this in pretty quickly then if they knew what they were doing. They're like, no, it's actually weeks of man hours to do that. So having the ability to do this so quickly, having the powerful tool that comes with this, and us right now being the only one who has it, it's a big deal.
Awesome. I mean, it is fantastic. I've seen the integration myself too, and it works beautifully.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's just jump into one last question. I'm like, what's the one piece of advice you've got for any mobile game developers sort of thinking about a third party store at the moment? Like, what do you say to them?
Yeah, we've got people who are not doing them for a number of reasons, right? So One of those things is they feel it's too much work. Another one is they're worried that they're going to run afoul of the rules. And as a result, they stay away from it and they continue through traditional means of trying to earn money. And then they wonder why they're not earning as much money as they do. Our advice is take that leap and let a trusted partner help you, like Xsolla. As I said before, we will build the web shop for you. We have all of the best practices that go along with what you need to do to not run afoul of the rules. In addition to that, we will help you with what it takes to be successful within a web store, how to change that mindset, how to change the type of UA you do, how to change the marketing. The integration with AppsFlyer is incredibly powerful, and it just works. It will give you so much more out of what the web shop does for you. And then what we're finding is that by integrating these web shops, you can earn to about an extra 30% in revenue. And why wouldn't you do that?
And that's
Especially for something that doesn't take much effort at all other than signing up.
Okay. Circle back round. So is this what you're seeing? Like, I'm sorry, I'm this too good to be true thing. I'm kind of re-hitting this, but so is that the kind of uptick that you're seeing from
You're seeing
your
for
clients?
for the people who really go hard on this, really take the advice and really put the effort into uptick of about an additional 20 to 30% in revenue from web shops alone.
Wow. Okay. Can't argue with that.
Pretty
great. So like I was saying before, my initial reaction is worth a punt. It's worth a punt.
Yeah, exactly. And look, we have, not only do we build these for our customers, and we built now over 500 of them. The integration pieces that we have that just work with PayStore from the Xsolla side. There are other web shop companies out there that will do this and build it for you. They work with a handful of payment partners. We have over 1,000 payment partners. We've been doing this for 19 plus years. And you really need a trusted partner that's doing the back end and the compliance that goes along with the payment portion of your web shop. This is potentially the most important part of your customer journey. Making the game is really hard. We acknowledge that. Getting the game to market is really hard. But after you put in years of effort and millions of dollars, it's probably good that you go with somebody who's been completing transactions and protecting that money for a long period of time. And that's why we feel it's important. The effort that goes into it, like we said, we help build that shop, but we also have something that's called the Instant Web Shop, which is pretty incredible. You upload your art and we'll spit out a web shop for you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You can use that web shop right away, or you can spend time and do a more customized version with us that will help you build and will help you. So there is no excuse to not do it, really.
Very cool. Right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Adam. I really appreciate it.
It's really been an eye opener. I mean, I had no idea that it was that it had that much potential to be that much of a lift. So I think that's quite
there's even more
area.
potential. I mean, had we had more time, we could go into the fact that these portals are a direct to consumer goldmine. Like you have an IP that's going to develop into nonlinear or anything like that, this is where you work with that. Right? What do fans want?
I was thinking we were going to have a conversation purely based on like what is a web shop and stuff, but at the same time, as soon as you started talking about the portal part, for me, it opened up so many options for like the cross promotion stuff. Just
yeah,
you're bringing people into your own ecosystem. You're able to show them ads essentially from yourself or other games from your own stable. And you can show those in a way that try and bring people or cross promote people or whatever it may be. Like you can bring in like loyalty schemes and that sort of stuff to be able to be displayed.
Loyalty is going to be another big one.
Yeah.
We just announced our offer wall, which comes with a loyalty program. That's going to allow people who don't spend in the traditional channels but want to grind away or want to take what they're doing in everyday life, like to get a Netflix subscription. Great, do it through our offer wall. You're going to get gems that are going to allow you to play in your game.
Yeah.
Having all of those abilities to do that direct with your customer, rather than through ad networks and through other places that it has to be done, it's incredibly powerful.
It really is. Super interesting. Super interesting. Okay, conscious of time.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for joining me
No,
today,
thank you.
and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes over the next while. Cool.
Really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.